Hi guys, Amanda from Rockpile Homestead. If you're new here, my husband Corey and I are building our off-grid homestead on 100 acres from scratch in country Western Australia. And today we have come to visit our friends, another homestead, farmstead, fairly close to us, so that's really exciting. Honey-Bee Farmstead. With me, I've got Mel. Thank you for having us. Can you tell our viewers, our watchers, a little bit about Honey-Bee Farmstead and what you guys do here?
Okay, well, this is our first ever big piece of land as well. Basically, the whole entire purpose for this place is to do regenerative farming. So everything that regenerative farming entails, building up and repairing the soil, as well as raising our animals and stewarding those guys with lots of love and intentionally to, you know, grow the happiest and healthiest animals, whether it be for egg production, meat production, milk production, to grow non-GM, fully organic and, you know, pesticide and all that free.
I love the values and the purpose behind what you guys are doing here, and it was just such a fortuitous moment when we connected. And what's really funny is Mel and Alex are the reason why we started YouTubing again, because we did a whole bunch of videos back in 2020 and we met you guys, we met Mel, and they're like, oh, we do YouTube. We're like, we did YouTube once as well, you know. And I think you went and like watched a couple of our videos and you said you should do it. So yeah, it was thanks to you that we're back up and running. So well, thank you for that prod.
It was a bit of a selfish thing too, because we'd like crammed all your videos and we're like, oh, they're so fun. We love that they're our new neighbours and that Fergie gets to come and live on our farm after being loved on your farm. So we were like, we wanted to follow along your journey, and sometimes when, you know, life gets hectic, it's nice to catch in with your friends on YouTube and go, oh, they're doing this now, how exciting. So it was exciting to see you come back.
Yeah. And what's even better is that Mel raises milk cows, Jersey cows, and like having a milk cow, a house cow, is this long time dream of mine, and we're getting our homestead to the point where I might be able to have a house cow. So I wanted to take this opportunity to have a chat with Mel about her cows, because you're doing something really interesting with what you're trying to breed. Can you tell me more about that?
Like I said, all about food and food health and organic status, like for our family, not for you know, having that stamp or anything like that. But it's all about, you know, health and well-being. So we got our first milk cow not that long ago, and I freshened her myself, which means that she had her baby and she'd never ever been milked before. So she was 2 years old and had just had her first calf. So it was really great because I got to learn with her, and I fell in love with the Jersey breed. I did a lot of research before about what sort of breeds I would like. I'll be honest, I was quite intimidated about the fact that cows are big and really can hurt you if they wanted to. So having one of those black and white ones that you see on dairies was probably not an option for me. And I'm glad I went that way, because I feel like Jerseys are really nice and calm and gentle, and I mean, all cows are sentient in my opinion, but they're just calm and they're a bit fun and a bit cheeky, and I do like that. So, but they also produce the best milk, so it's creamy and amazing for all the things that we want to do, cheese and yogurt and all that. The butter's amazing. So yeah. But yeah, so we milked this morning. I'm drying off one of my cows because we've artificially inseminated her with some really, really important semen from Jersey Island, which is where these cows originated. And I just saw a bit of a shortage in that genetic line. Like, I noticed that one Jersey cow's teats were like really tiny and weren't able to be hand milked anymore. So there was really rare to find a cow that had the long, you know, homesteading sort of makeup.
Yeah, I didn't even realise there was like a difference in the length of teats or what difference it would make.
Yeah.
As someone who had no idea. So can you tell me exactly what is it you're trying to do there then?
So
What's your approach?
Yeah. So I found a cow that her teats are sort of halfway between, like they're breeding out the longer teats. They're breeding them for smaller teats to accept a cup in a dairy. So house cows are sort of the genetically long teats are being bred out of them. So when I got Deirdre and her teats were sort of halfway between sort of dairy and house cow, I thought, how about I find or source some genetics that are from the old ways where they had the longer teats and they were used as a house cow. So I've stuck with that, and I've met a cow specialist who's been doing it many, many years. They're local to here. And we've worked with her to make sure that Deirdre's nutrition's right and all those sorts of things. And we've artificially inseminated her with the genetics from Jersey Island in the hopes to bring out that more house cow. And as you know, Deirdre's a lot smaller than most cows you'd see. So yeah, we want her teat to pretty much be at least the length of our standard hand size, so that when we milk, the milk is coming out of the end of the teat, not in your hand somewhere here because the teat is short. So fingers crossed, because the new cow I got, Bonnie, has got really long teats and her genetics are really nice as well, that we're going to continue that line and get that sort of house cow thing back, because I think people are becoming more interested in it again.
Yeah, for sure. Bonnie's quite a character. If you want to see some adventures of Bonnie, you need to head over to Mel's channel, to Honey-Bee Farmstead, and check out the cow adventures.
The Queen of Mean.
Okay, so as someone who is considering a house cow in the future, what are the sorts of things that I need to know and learn to work, like to have a cow as part of my family in a way that's beneficial to them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important, because if a cow or an animal wants to work for you, then it's half of the job's done, right? So I think you already have that, though. You and Corey, you're very conscious of everything on your property being treated with that love, kindness and respect that you want, right? Yep. So, and I think that they understand that. Like I said, Deirdre was a first timer. She'd come on a truck, she'd had a scary experience, she was having her first baby. So I just kind of gave her time to settle in and get to know me, and I fed her, and obviously I learnt the things about her that she doesn't like. So some of my cows don't like their heads being touched. And you'll quickly learn that. And if you just go, okay, cool, that's your thing, I think eventually we'll get there, but she needs to build up her trust. There's a bit of trust being lost somewhere in the journey before our place. But yeah, I have this firm belief that if you treat everything, that animal, human, everything that you come into contact with the love and respect you want to be treated with, you're going to get that back in spades. So, what happened to me recently with Bonnie was a response to trauma that I think she's been through in her life. So rather than be angry at her, like I was very frightened of her, definitely that day, and then the few days after, but I have a responsibility to her, so we kept doing the milking thing, but I sort of was a little more hands-off. I kind of read their cues. So if she doesn't want to be touched right now, or like, for example, she does not like the dogs, she must have had a terrible experience with dogs, and even though mine are great, I try and keep them well out of her area. Just read their cues. I think you've got that anyway, because you've had rescue dogs a lot in your life, so I think you are good at that. So that's something I think you'll learn along the way. And again, this was a very new journey for me too. I've always been around animals and love them, but yeah, just read their cues and I think you'll be fine. Yeah, and I'm just down the road. I do have cow experts that I go to regularly. That is very handy to have. They're amazing, and I feature them in my channel if anyone is ever thinking of doing it, and I will introduce you to them because it's really handy to know if there's anything that goes down with their hooves or their udder or anything. Having someone on the end of a phone that you can just say, hey, this is going on.
Yeah.
Can you give me some suggestions? And they'll give you some suggestions, or someone else in that cow community will do the same. it's nice to have that person around or people around to do that. So
Yeah.
that's the first step.
Yeah, I mean, building community, especially when you have animals with farmsteading, homesteading, all that thing, like that community becomes the core of what helps you get ahead. Like, it's one thing to, yes, you're a little bit isolated on your farm or your homestead or wherever you are, but you do need to stay connected, and that's how we thrive together as a community and helping each other out. And, you know, and that's why we do this, so we can connect with you guys.
Yeah.
So what do I need to consider setting up so I can have a cow?
Okay, awesome. So the main thing is, if you're going to milk, think about where you're going to milk. Is it sheltered? Because once your cow is in lactation and you are milking her, you have a responsibility to milk her every day, because her body will respond to the amount of milk you take. You need to take that every day. So it's why I like calf sharing. I always leave the baby with mum. It's also because I've been a mum and I don't want to be separated from my baby. So the baby has mum all day, and then you lock the baby away at night, but always have mum where she can lick and groom the baby and comfort the baby. Then you have the milk in the morning and she goes off with her baby for the day. You need to make sure that you've got clean, fresh water, accessible all the time. Good nutritious food. So if a cow is producing a lot of milk for you, you need to make sure that she's getting all the nutrition. Having a vitamin and mineral block is really good for them as well. But yeah, so a nice sheltered area, because also there's nothing worse than pulling a cow out in the morning and it's been drenched all night and you're trying to milk it and all the water's coming off her all over you and you're like, oh, you know, and it's got to be somewhere clean and tidy for you to keep your milk, because you know, you don't want to be milking in a dirty shed because you're going to be consuming that milk, right? So hygiene's a must, but also know who in your area does the veterinary work with cows, because that's a big thing. It's a bit of an art that's kind of dying out, I think. And yeah, so we got a vet in, just to give you a bit of background, I'm not going to tell you where from or anything, but we got a vet in, bit of an emergency, first time cow mum, and I thought she might be getting mastitis. So I rang a vet and said, can you come out and check her out? Obviously they're a big animal, you can't just chuck them in the car and take them down to the vet. And it cost me $280 to even get her to get in the car to come out to us. So you need to be aware of all that.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, that probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't such a sort of stressy cow mum. But I did, and she came out, and then that particular vet had really not had any experience with cows, because it's not that common anymore. So she kind of knew dogs and cats, but nothing about cows. So that was kind of stressful for me. I was like, oh, she's not even getting close enough to the udder to figure it out. But, you know, everything was fine and it worked well, but it did make me think, okay, well, in the future, what will I do in that respect? So it's worth thinking about that, and it's also worth thinking about, if that should happen, where am I going to source the medicines that cow needs and things like that. But I mean, other than that, people have been keeping milk cows for centuries, haven't they?
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So holistically, if we give them everything they need, we generally don't need to worry about that. You know, and also keeping a calf on. You want to go away for a weekend with Corey or anything like that, or you get unwell, you just leave the calf on.
Yep.
The calf takes the milk and there's no stress on that mother's udder.
Yep.
And that's the kind of more holistic way to do it, in my opinion.
Like, how much time do I need to make sure I allow to properly care for the cow, and does it change from season to season?
The seasons for a cow are not like our autumn, summer, winter, spring scenario. The seasons are lactation and then obviously growing another baby. So while they've got a baby on them, you can essentially stretch out that lactation for 2 years or thereabouts. And again, if you calf share, you would probably wean that calf at around the 6-month mark. You could leave it for later. They will keep drinking as long as you want. But that, in my experience, is the easiest way to do it, because it's not that big of a buy-in as far as time. But really, washing the udder, putting the balm on the udder and milking the cow, give yourself an hour.
Yep.
If you know, like if that cow knows milking. Some milkings for me with Deirdre when she was a first timer would take 2.
Yep.
And the first hour of that might be her just calming down and not wanting to kick me or shuffle around in the box. And that did happen, but she was a first timer. If you get yourself a cow that's been done for at least a season, much easier. They walk in, they eat, it happens. And we can do it in 30 minutes. And, once you know your cow and they know you, they just become super, and they just let the milk down. But there's, this whole other side to it where if they're feeding a baby and they're not used to you touching them, they'll hold their milk back and you won't get anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot involved, but again, it's why it's great to have someone who's done it and can help. And I'm always happy to do that for you.
I think it was really interesting that I think you said once how when you're trying to revive this almost line of house cows that finding the people that will go to you want to almost deliver them as a house cow ready cow. It's not just a handing off a calf and you figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why Mel's going to be my cow expert. She's my cow lady.
I'm pleased to be that.
So when I'm ready, and you know what, and the thing is, I know how well she takes care of her animals, and I know that she wouldn't let me have one of her animals if I wasn't ready and if I didn't have the proper setup. So there's a confidence in that as well, instead of just winging it and going to a place that doesn't care where the animals go and they just send it off with you and you have to figure it out, and things can go wrong. You might not even notice the signs of if your animal's sick or anything like that if you don't have a relationship with where they came from and essentially you don't know anything about their background and anything like that as well.
I did buy Deirdre from my cow expert, and I have always said and will always say that I'm so glad I did that, because she's always been at the end of a phone for me, and that is why I've developed my skill set around them so quickly, and I am so familiar with them now because she helped me get through that. So if there's any bad behaviour or anything like that, she'll tell you straight away, oh, no, that's just behavioural. Nip that in the bud. Like Bonnie, she came to us, she's probably about 6, we're not sure. There wasn't a lot of background on her. She already had her own traumas and things. But I would never attempt something like that if I hadn't have done Deirdre from the beginning. But as my skill set grows, eventually you'll probably be able to just pick up a cow anywhere, take her home and do it, because you'll get to that stage as well and you'll become someone's cow expert. You will, yeah. And it's exciting because there's some beautiful bonds that happen between you and your animal, and I really enjoy going out in the morning, and especially Bonnie hurt me recently quite badly. But it wasn't her fault. It was definitely mine and her past experiences. But now I love to sit there and milk her because she moos at you when she's eating. So she'll have a mouthful of food and she'll be like, and chat away. Whereas none of my others have done that. So I'm just there's so many differences between them. I think it's so cute. The first time that Alex saw it, he was like, well, that's really cute. And I was like, yeah, she is cute, even though she hurt me, she's beautiful and we're getting to know each other,
I guess there's an element of romanticism, but I always want to ground it in practical knowledge, because if you get carried away with just the idea of it, then you're dealing with a real life here.
Yeah.
So awesome. That's so much valuable information. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
My pleasure.
And sharing it with the people that watch our channel.
Yeah.
Mel does amazing things with cows. I love watching all the cow antics and the milking. So I learn a lot by watching Honey-Bee Farmstead's videos. Head over and check them out, because there's always interesting stuff that that Mel's doing. And while
and trying to look like an expert at it.
And I'm not ready to take that step yet, but when I do, I've got Mel, so you need to go find yourself a Mel.
Well, I do know that that's something happening for you, and I'm sort of gearing to which cow's going to best suit you during my breeding. We have one expecting a baby soon, and whenever it is, we will find you the perfect cow that will fit you guys.
Awesome, and I cannot wait. Thanks, Mel from Honey-Bee Farmstead again. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. You, my love. You're going to have to share, okay? So this is Deirdre. This is my first cow. She's going through her molt, so she's getting her summer coat. This big guy is Harvey. Oh, he's a big boy. And he thinks he's a puppy. So he's a nice, big, lovely guy, but he has very scary looking horns. But he is super friendly. Hey! Oh! So this is Valley.
Valley girl.
Or Valentine.
She's the one that's pregnant.
So her full name's Valentine, but we call her Valley Girl because she sort of seems a bit more sassy like a Valley Girl.
Oh, this lady looks familiar.
Yeah, Miss Bonnie. She's lovely, but she's a bit more standoffish. She's just getting to know us, and she's a little bit nervous, but we're just getting her used to us. So we've had all our cows genetically tested. Deirdre's A1, A2, so she has a half of the A2 genes. She's A2, A2, so she's the top of the line. Oh, don't. She's not even. See how we tried to mount then and she ran off? We're pretty sure she's pregnant. So yeah.
Oh, so you're saying like
see
if
this here, how she's trying to mount Deirdre too? See how she's kicking? That wouldn't be happening if she was in standing heat. She would stand there and that cow would mount and carry on even though it's a cow.
Yep.
So the fact that she's kicking and telling them to go away means, yeah, no, there's nothing going on there. She's probably pregnant.
She is pregnant.
But yeah, we haven't had Harvey tested for his genetics, but I'm going to because we're probably going to use him to breed because he's got such a beautiful nature. He's a lovely boy. Do you want to grab the buckets and take them back?
Oh.
So yeah, she's A2, A2, she's A1, A2. She hasn't been tested yet. We're going to test her because see if you look at her teats, she's got beautiful long teats. She's the perfect house cow.
Could you explain to me what the
That's
A1, A2 thing is?
Basically, because I only know it very, very broadly. But so A2, A2 has got the enzyme in it that makes it pretty much digestible by anyone. It's the most sort of gut healthy milk that you can get. So A2, A2 is top of the line. You can't get any better than that. A1, A2 is obviously the next level down, and A1, A1 will still produce good cow milk, better than anything we can buy in the shop in my opinion, but it's not probably going to suit everybody's gut type. If we can, and obviously this is all keeping in line with the teat length, the personality, the temperament, all those sorts of things, because they're important too. In my opinion, the A2, A2 status does not mean that much to me. Because I'm drinking milk from an A1, A2 cow at the moment, and it's perfect.
Hey guys, so you can see the baby cows behind me. We're going to leave everyone here at Honey-Bee Farmstead to the rest of their day. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with me and Mel. Go over and check them out, and I'm going to sneak over and see if I can get some more footage of the babies.